TBC Community, welcome back to another video with Chris, and today we're going to be going over a recap of the weekend's LCQ and Worlds results. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. Thank you guys for all the support again as we go towards 2,000 subs. So the big thing here first is just the event in general. We did not get a stream for day one, which was the LCQ, and then on Worlds for Sunday we did get a stream. We got to see a top 8 match, a top 4 match, and then finals. I really wish they would have showed us. I know it probably would have taken longer, but it would have been nice if they did like a double stream. Maybe they had just both, both tables being able to be recorded, so then they could swap between them, or maybe we just have 2 different streams for them. That'd have been really cool, because that's more content that we could have seen and digested just as fans. And definitely streaming the LCQ. I think it's probably the biggest, probably the only miss, honestly, from the weekend was that Bandai did not stream the LCQ. I think next year, let's hope that becomes a thing, because I think that'll make a huge deal for everybody. That's just, again, it's just more content. It's just good to see, recorded matches, honestly. So, who knows? Maybe next year, if Bandai needs some content creators to help out, commentary, would love to help. Would love to be a part of that. But we'll go over the LCQ top 8 first, and then we'll dive into the World's top 8 and just go over everything with that, as well as the deck list and things like that. So first, the LCQ, I think it was like 155 people. And here was our top 8 here. So we had Marcus ended up getting first with the set 1 Golden Frieza, which if you guys watched the video I put out before the LCQ started on Saturday, last Saturday, I talked about this. Talked about Golden Frieza as probably the best deck suitable for dealing with Crimson. And it showed here Marcus was able to get first place with it, right? In the LCQ. He probably played against a ton of Crimson, because as you can see here, there's 6 Crimson, 5 Crimson here in Top Cut here. Then there's also 4 Crimsons in the World Top 8. Everything else is pretty stationary here. You have a Gamma, and then you have a Supreme Kai, which is really cool as well. I'm very happy that Supreme Kai was able to at least get top 8. It would have been nice to see them in in the actual Worlds stream, but that's okay. That's okay. So, but Marcus and then Justin Rios being able to get the first and second place in the LCQ, which then actually put them in the World's top 8. I believe there's probably some issue with, I think, a visa or something. So someone from, probably as my guess, is Latin America, because I don't see anybody here from Latin America. So that spot ended up opening up to being a spot for the World Top 8. Now, also this graphic here too, this was made by, I believe, Eggman. Yeah, Eggman here. So, shout out to him for having this graphic made. Very helpful to kind of make these videos with. So, yeah, with the LCQ, I mean, outside of the Golden Frieza and Supreme Kai here, this is pretty kind of what people thought was going to happen, right? You're going to see a lot of Crimson. The big thing is that Crimson, we'll go into those a little bit later in the video, but Crimson definitely was able to gatekeep a lot of other colors from being able to make it into this top 8. I have a feeling. Like GT and Sin both don't have favorable matchups into Crimson. It's kind of an uphill battle. So the fact that there was a black deck able to make top 8 was fantastic. As well, again, as we have the Golden Frieza here for Marcus, which I do think it's still, even though there was a Trunks Vegeta who ended up winning the entire World Tournament, I think Golden Frieza has a better matchup into Crimson in a standard best of 1, best of 3 Swiss event. We'll go over that in a second here as to why. So the top 8 for Worlds, we have first place was I think it's Trapani. Terpini, Philip, yeah. Congratulations to him for getting first place with Trunks Vegeta of all decks, right? We did talk about this a little bit in the video with the Worlds breakdown. I did talk about Trunks Vegeta probably being the most consistent deck that we've had since its release. And I thought it had a good shot of at least making into finals. Did not think I did not think he was gonna win, but watching the game, it should open up a lot of people's eyes as to how to beat Crimson, because there was a Crimson match on stream, and boy did he take advantage of this Crimson player, which he played very well. I think his name is Antony, the guy who finished third place. He played very well, but there's only so much you can do, man, when this guy, I think the first 5 or 6 turns of their game 1, he negated every single attack. And as a Crimson player, and he's just not attacking. And as a Crimson player, you can't do anything about that. So, number 2, we had Oliver from Europe. This is I think it's big O notation. I think it's, and that's his YouTube channel. Oliver, congratulations to him for finishing second with Gamma 1 and 2. So we had no US players in finals, but then we also had no Crimson in finals. And I don't think anyone would have predicted that. I would have guessed at least one Crimson to be in finals there. Third place was the Crimson Warrior deck that I was talking about just recently. Wong Po ended up finishing 4th. And then we had Andrew Deval, Robert Rizzi, Marcus, and Justin Rios, all of the US players, all finishing from what, 5 to 8. Now, big thing here, big takeaway from this is that Crimson is beatable, right? This is something that people should really look into and watch. Honestly, watch the Trunks Cheetah and Gamma matchup from Battle Hour. If you guys really want to just see like a very good way of just completely just decimating that deck. Now, I saw people talking about this, and this is obviously a big asterisk on this, is that this is a Worlds format. Whatever deck they played, everyone knew each other's deck list, right? So they already knew kind of going into it. They were, I'm assuming the Trunks Cheetah player kind of knew he was going to see a lot of Crimson, probably Beerus, maybe Gamma. So he built his deck to be completely anti-blue. And we'll see once we get into the deck list, his deck is not a typical Trunks Cheetah list. It's probably not a typical Trunks Cheetah list if you want to go into a regional or a webcam best of 1 with, because you're not setting up your deck to do well against the meta, against the spread. You're doing it well to match up against one particular type of deck or one particular type of playstyle, and that is blue. So we'll see that once we get into the actual video, or to the actual deck list part of it. But that's kind of why he did so well. Typical Trunks Cheetah lists are not that style, and he played very defensively and basically just stalled out till turn 8, turn 9 sometimes. And that's how he was able to win the games, just drawing out the resources, and they weren't really able to do much with that. Everything else here, we had one Beerus player. I think it seems pretty, be pretty normal. The Golden Frieza, again, I'm very happy that there was a Golden Frieza player. I think if Marcus would have, I don't know who he played against first. I'd have to actually look at the bracket. But I feel like Golden Frieza probably had the best matchup against all these blue decks. I don't know how it would have done in the Trunks Cheetah matchup. That would have been kind of interesting to watch. But I think a big thing here is that we had 4 US players, probably 4 of our better US players, not being able to make it in the finals, all of which were playing Crimson except for the one Golden Frieza player. This is maybe a style thing. Maybe it was everyone was preparing to play against the Mirror or to play against Beerus and not really preparing to play against Trunks Cheetah and other things like that, which is maybe why it seemed that we didn't have any Trunks Cheetah players or any Crimson players being able to make it to finals. It could be a potential. So now we'll go into each of the decks. We'll go over a breakdown, just kind of talk about the decks and see if we see anything very interesting. I'm sure we will, definitely in the first deck, but maybe in some of the other ones as well. All right, so we have the first place Trunks Cheetah list here. This is a 52 card list, and as I told you before, a lot of his main deck is not something you would see in a typical Trunks Cheetah deck. First thing being, see all these extra cards that he's running here. 4 in Time Magic, 2 Release from Evil, 1 Death Blaster, 2 T-Blow. This is a lot of extra cards to be running in this particular type of deck, even 1 Final Flash, right? Again, this was a lot to deal with blue. Being able to stop the Piccolo from attacking, being able to stop just having a gate that he could use to stall out the potential leader swing. T-Blow obviously working against Blue, did well against Gamma. It also does well against Beerus Z Battle card, the Whis Z Battle card that Beerus plays. So being able to just stop a bunch of stuff from coming down. And then Release from Evil was literally a tech for Gamma and Crimson, the leaders themselves, so that way they stop the leader effect from going off. It's an incredible tech. But again, you see a lot of this in the main deck. He was really looking to win that game 1 against Blue, so then he could shift into game 2 and just play a little more defensive. You can see here even too, 4 of the Vegeta promos. I think this card is great. I don't know why more Trunks Vegeta players were not playing this card during the actual season. Since this card's been out, this card's fantastic. Now, I did see a few times where the Trunks Vegeta player comboed this card off and did not restand a Trunks Vegeta in his battle area. I mean, a Trunks Future in his battle area. So he wasn't. When you combo this card off on your opponent's turn, it restands this guy. It also restands this guy as well. But he would block with this and then combo with the Vegeta and then not restand the Trunks. Which, I mean, he won, but that would have even made a more of a difference because then he wasn't, he wasn't actually using this effect correctly. You see 4 of the Gohan unisons being able to board wipe kind of, but then also being able to just swing 25k 3 times. Difficult for a lot of decks to deal with. Very, very difficult for a lot of decks to deal with. The biggest spice with this deck is probably this guy, right? Frieza, Emperor of Universe 7. So the fact is this guy not only was playing 7-drop Frieza, but he was also playing the signature rares, which was just such a big flex for somebody to do. This is a 7-drop. You can cheat it out. There's a card you can cheat it out with, but you're not playing in this deck because it's a bad card. If your leader's yellow, if your opponent activates a counter skill or non-keyword auto or activate skills cannot be activated unless they choose 1 card from their life and place it in the drop. Essentially, you would play this, and then he just killed the Crimson player. It was very difficult for the Crimson player to be able to do anything once this card was down, since everything is like an activate main or activate battle, and this card just dominated being able to do that. It was such a cool tech. Yeah, I don't know. It did well. Definitely won him both of his games. Being able to use that card. One of the 8 drops, which is cool. Being able to make this a triple striker, which also has crit, is pretty powerful. And this is kind of what he used to end most of the games. That, and then on the back of his Piccolo Gohan secret rare. See the Z deck here, which I didn't really see. We didn't see a ton of the Z cards being played. I think he played this guy a few times. I never saw this come out. He probably just didn't want to play it. Probably just didn't have a reason to play it. But it's there just in case. And then his Z deck is, I would say, normal stuff. The Divine Transformation definitely did quite a bit of work in all of his games. At least the ones that we saw, just because another blue hate card, and it just did very, very well. I don't think this ever came down, but this would have been hilarious, this card coming down. You get to look at your opponent's hand and play a battle card from their hand. And I believe also you can play it off of Mecha Frieza. You can tap 2 to play it on top of the Mecha Frieza, which would have been kind of cool too. So, pretty strong side deck. Again, he was very set up to play against Blue, because he probably just guaranteed everyone was going to be playing Crimson. So this deck seems to just do very well against Crimson. I'm sure people are going to try to kind of mimic this deck, but just remember, against Red and against Black, you're not going to be playing all these extra cards. You're not going to have the opportunity to set up and play all these extra cards, because you're going to get swung at, between 3 and 5 times per turn. You're not going to be able to use any of most of this stuff correctly. So, but it is a very powerful list. Congratulations to him for getting first place, and he piloted this deck very, very well. All right, second place was Oliver's list, which was his Gamma list here. We won't spend too much time on the Gamma list because this is a pretty typical Gamma list. I will say the main deck, Turning the Tide, very interesting. So he was really looking to go into the long game, and then as well as the 2 main boarded Not Even a Scratch. So this card is great. I'm actually surprised more decks don't run this card, since a lot of decks right now like to get to the combo step in order to do particular things. Being able to just flat out stop your opponent from being able to attack, and then also use it as a mini draw one, as like a mini ape, is incredibly impactful. So things like Crimson and Gogeta, it really turns off their deck. Even Beerus, like them not being able to get a Z card in their card in their Z energy early, really slows down their curve, and it makes the game change up quite a bit. So, and we never saw him actually hit this card off of his Android effects, mainly because I think he's probably because he's running 50 cards. So he's right, you know, he's running, you know, the bare minimum of cards and just maxing out on consistency, which is really, really cool to see. He also ran 3 Boo Unisons. So he ran a total of 7 Unisons, so 7 uncombable cards. Again, you're probably not running these in the main deck in a typical Swiss event, but because they knew what they were kind of playing against, he was pretty fair of running the Boo. Z-Deck is pretty stationary. The 1 Jiren, this card is very, very good. Any blue-green deck, you should be playing this card in. His Z-Deck comes into play quite a bit here. Now, the side deck, a lot of typical stuff here that you would see. 3 Smoke Dragon, another Gohan that he has. He's already main decking 2 of those. Cunning and Borgos for the blue matchups, and then 1 Bad Omen, just to have the potential to be able to burn them for 1 damage. I think there's a lot of decks that have burn damage now, or there's a lot of variations of burn damage now that we're getting in the game. This is a card that potentially might be hit next set, but right now it's still a very good card. Being able to put this in your energy and then just tap 4 and just burn your opponent for 1 is just a good way of just, you know, being able to win the game without having to actually take your last opponent's life or get to the combo step. And then Desperate Measures, this came in clutch against the Mecha Frieza negates, and then 1 more Not Even a Scratch, probably for going in against Crimson or Gogeta GT if he's going to play against that. But no, good stuff here. Congratulations to him. Definitely think Gamma is going to win. Gamma was very, very close. I think that game 3 with him not charging on turn 1 probably hurt him quite a bit. But overall, he did very well. I'm sure he'll be back next year, but this deck continues to perform. As we've seen, the 2 most consistent decks that have been released probably the entire year was Gamma and Trunks. Those 2 decks just consistently good, and both of them have good Crimson matchups. So that's why, another reason why he played this deck, I'm sure. All right, next we have the 3rd place Crimson deck. This is a 54 card list. Not seeing anything crazy different here in the main deck. He is playing Baby, which is interesting. So I'm assuming he's using the -5 effect, since we no longer have God Sealing to use. -5 allows him to use counter skills by pitching 2 cards from his hand, and then he's running 2 of the Golden Apes. So you can play the Golden Ape without having to use it for energy, so that way you can push for game if you're using Gohan or your Leader Swing or whatever that is. 1 Begrudging Allies in the main. I'm not really sure what this is for. Potentially for Beerus. I just think it's random just to run 1 of these and not like Desperate Measures, because he's not even playing Desperate Measures. He's playing 3 total Begrudging Allies. Yeah, that's kind of odd. Not really sure as to what that is for. I would love for him to do deck videos so we can maybe figure out why. But yeah, very interesting. So if it hits 3 drops specifically, I'm not really sure what that would be for. 1 Champa, it's normal. He is running 2 Vegeta Harness Power. I think we'll go through the Crimson list. Hopefully they all were running this card. This card's very good for being able to put a card back into your opponent's hand from the combo step. Preferably something like like if you're playing against Gogeta GT and they combo a Goku or something, or a Vegeta, you can end up putting it back into their hand so they can't awaken, they have to attack again. Or if Yellow is playing, Piccolo Gohan, you can put their secret Rare back in their hand, so that way the 30k combo power is gone. It has a few different good uses, and everything else seems pretty standard. Yeah, two Black Smoke. He's running 1 more in the side, 217s in the side deck. So it doesn't look like he's running a total of 4 negates. Yeah, just 4 negates. So he's just really looking to push. Deborah, I'm assuming for green if he was going to be getting hit with the green. and then 2 Draw Apes. This is a pretty good sideboard. The Kami is really cool. I think this is a good tech for people if they know they're going to be playing against Trunks Vegeta. It is 3 energy, but in a deck like Crimson, it's basically 2, maybe even 1 if you use your leader effect. So congratulations to him for being able to get 3rd. Anything else different? For UI, it's pretty heavy on the UI. Yeah, he's going for aggression here, man. You got 3 Unbreakable, 4 UI, and 3 Realm. That's quite a bit of combo power. So he's just going to be getting to the combo step quite a bit. This is a pretty good list. Very, very, very solid list. All right, next we have the 4th place Beerus list. This is a 50 card list. He was running as much consistency as possible. The point of this deck is you play out this guy here. 2 ramp and energy. You get to turn 6 energy. You play Vegeta, ramp 4 more. Then you just continuously just go up, and then you can use Kaioken to reset all of your energy. So that way you can use the Hakai effect. You also have Whis, which is basically just another way to get another turn, which is incredibly broken. Yeah, it's this. Yeah, this card's incredibly broken. But good list. We saw the one match on stream where you played against Deval. He probably would have lost that matchup if Deval would have charged correctly. But just the last of judgment, it happens to the best of us. Side deck for this, he only ran 14 cards. Probably it's kind of interesting. So he actually did. So he's the first player I think I've actually seen do this, where they actually side deck a Z card, which is really interesting. So he probably just wanted to have an extra copy of it, an extra Whis. Is he running any Ready to Rumble in the main deck? No. No Ready to Rumble. No Ready to Rumble in the main deck. Not actually running a lot of negates. Oh, yeah. I mean, okay, never mind. He is. Yeah, I didn't see this. So, yeah, he's running 4 of the Android 17s. 4 Android 17s, 4 D Magic, 2 Baby Minion, 2 Chilled. Yeah, he's got quite a bit of defense here. And that's basically what the deck is. You just stall till you can get these cards out, and then you just win the game off that. Yeah, pretty simple Beerus list. So, now we have the 5th place list. This is Deval's list. So Deval's list probably was the most spicy, I think, of all the lists. He played very well. One big thing, he is playing his card that he made last year, the Harudagam card, which this card should see more play if people are going to be playing Crimson. This card's very good. So his whole style attempt was to play this out on 3, at least against Crimson other decks. He'd play this. Swing with it. He would pop one of his guys on board, whether it's a Pan or a Borgos or whatever, to get the ramp. And then he would ramp up once he gets to 7 energy. He would slam a bunch of value down, play Kaioken, and then slap down turning the tide, and then just go for game. Very powerful strategy. I'm sure it's worked out quite a bit for him, obviously. Came up a little bit short, but it's very, 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 very good. He also was running Awakened Instincts as his Overrealm, which is very interesting. So he's not actually running Broly. I wonder if it's because he wanted the combo power, or he wanted to make sure that because this is also a Saiyan. I mean, I guess Broly's also a Saiyan too. Maybe he just wanted this for the extra draw power, is my guess. That is pretty interesting tech there. Now, his side deck, he was running 3 Frost Deadly Poisons, which is wild. So I think he was running this for 2 different reasons. One, he was running it for a counter for the 6-drop Vegeta, and he was also running it as a counter for Beast Gohan, because this card will actually hit the card coming into play. It's then played in rest mode with its skills negated for the turn. You get to draw a card, and if you're at 3 life or less, you get to restand 1 blue or yellow energy. So it's a very, very interesting tech. You also can charge a Saiyan Instincts. So that way you can just charge. I'm sure he probably brought those in at the same time. He probably took out the Harudagam stuff maybe, or Unbreakable or something. But he would side these in, and then you would charge an ape, or you would charge a Frost Deadly Poison, and then now you would have Frost Deadly Poison active, because now you would have a yellow energy. So everything else so pretty standard from that. But yeah, this is definitely some good spice here for people who want to run a particular version of this. I would really like to know as to why he ran the Bardock instead of Broly, though. That's very interesting to figure out. My guess is because of the combo power is my true guess to it, but I could be wrong. All right, we have the next Crimson deck, which this one was Robert Rizzi's. So he ran, normally his decks don't run a ton of negates. As you can see here, he has one D magic. He's also running Divisive Strike. So this is a counterplay if you have a Z battle card in play. It hits 3 or lesses, and then you can also you can pitch a card from your hand, or bomb deck a card from your hand, to activate this card for free. So my guess is that he would probably play out Beerus, and then this swing, and then use this card to kind of stop your opponent from floodgating, or being able to stop like some of the ramp cards, or other things like that. This is a pretty typical list here, as you see here. He's not really high on the realm count. You have 4 Unbreakable, 3 UI, and then 2 realm. He definitely probably values the Goku Unbreakable a little bit more than the realm. And then 2 of the Fusion Synergy Awaken cards. This is actually a good tech. I think a lot of people need to switch over to playing Self-Awakeners in their Crimson deck, because people are just going to stall you. And then if you don't get down the 4 life with the 5 Saiyans, you're just going to lose so much value and tempo. It's going to be really difficult for you to do much. This is interesting. So he's running 4 Dende new to the job. So this is a very good card. This is actually going to be a very good card next set as well. But you can use this when your opponent ramps an energy. You can play this guy, tap 3, and then burn an energy, which is very powerful. You can stop your opponent's turn, essentially. And I'm interested as to why he ran 4. Because unless his game's going really, really long, I don't see him playing 4 of these. But hopefully he puts out a video so we can maybe get a little bit of an idea as to why he was running 4 Dende. I think it's a really cool idea. I just don't know why 4 of them in this deck. But I'm sure he has a good reason as to why. He ran 1 Hirudegarm. Not sure why the 1 Hirudegarm and not more. Maybe just didn't know what to really side deck. Just kind of threw 1 of those in there. And then 2 Krillin for the... this is again for the decks that run Kaioken. Most people probably knew that Deval plays Kaioken as a secret rare, but also for Beerus as well, just to stop the Kaioken from being able to be effective. All right, then we have the Golden Frieza list. Now this list was shown off, I believe today or yesterday, in Joey Palladino's Crossworld video. So you guys go check out. You guys can actually hear Marcus talk about this list, but he ran a lot of one-ofs, which was very interesting. You can see his whole bottom row here is just one-ofs. But the idea of it was to just gain a ton of value through drawing, with cycling all of your one-drop Friezas. And then he has Divine Transformation, the Flash of Brilliance Gohan combo, which I think is very good. And then being able to follow with the Mira Champa cooler for game. But he's running a lot of interesting one-ofs down here. Also, he was playing the Sun Gohan and Higher Dragon combination. I actually played against somebody at Nats. I think they were actually on Crossworld's team, who was playing. He might have actually been playing a very similar list to this, because he was using this card when we played against each other. So the idea of this card is you play a 1-drop from the drop with its skills negated. So then you play out one of your 1-drop guys here, and then you can kill it with your leader to then restand 2 and draw 1, or restand 1, draw 1 if you're on the unawakened side, which is crazy value. But what you would do is you would play this card out. You would uptick it to play a little guy. You would then sack off the little guy. You'd restand the energy, and then you would go into this, which now this would have 2 markers. You would get this card to 3 markers, and then you would sack it off to play, 2 markers, whatever. But you did it on 2 markers. So you play this guy. Once you get the 2 markers, you sack it off for the Gohan. He then goes up to 5 markers. Then you uptick, you go to 6, and now he's going to be really difficult for you to kill. I think that's how he explained it. 2 Oceanus in the main deck. Love seeing that. Love seeing the Oceanus in the main deck. And I mean, a lot of little tech cards. The plan here is to have a 1-drop barrier on board, similar to this guy, so that way the Gohan can actually use its effect. But I think it was a very powerful list. Like I said, this was my sleeper to win the tournament. I'm very happy that someone was able to top with it. Just shows you how powerful this leader still is. And being that right now Crimson's still kind of the overseer of the meta. Again, hopefully people found a way to now, just showing that Crimson is beatable. You just kind of find a deck that actually plays well into the Crimson meta. This deck not having the swing to be able to draw cards and gain advantage is crucial as to why it's good against Crimson. And then the side deck, Again, you can watch the video to kind of get more of a rundown on his side deck choices, but here's what he side decked here. The one Magic Gabor Unison is really cool. The Dispatch Dispo to play out his one drops from his drop. That way, if he didn't have his Unison, he was able to still play him out. One Nimbus, one Death Blaster, just a bunch of utility stuff. I believe he said that the Trunks Unison was for the mirror match, if he was playing against a mirror match, or just a yellow match in general. But it's a very good, very good set of cards here. Definitely would have loved to have seen this in finals, but it is what it is. But congratulations to him for being able to pilot a non-Crimson deck. As the guy who kind of curated the Crimson deck, he was able to play against his creation and obviously do very well. And the last list here is going to be Justin Rios and his Crimson list. Again, very similar to the other lists. Some interesting things with this one. He is still running Boo Unison, and he was main decking Saiyan Instincts. Everything else seems to be pretty stationary. He's running 4 Gohans and 4 Unbreakable. So he was really relying on the Gohan for its effectiveness. Z deck, pretty standard stuff. Now the side deck here, I saw some interesting things. So this stuff all kind of normal, but he was running this card here, King Yama. So it says when you play this card, you may choose 2 non-black battle cards from your opponent's drop and place them at the bottom of your opponent's deck in any order. If you do, you draw 1. So the concept of this card, I think it's very funny. So the concept of this card is kind of like an anti-Crimson matchup. So you would play this in the Crimson matchup, and you would bottom deck 2 of their cards, 2 of their Saiyans, and then you would draw a card. And that's hilarious. So it's just a way of being able to stop your opponent from being able to awaken. I'm sure every time he played against a Crimson player, he just sided these guys right in, and that's a really interesting tech to go against Crimson. So I'm sure the blue decks are going to see this, and they're going to be like, oh, okay, we're going to end up putting this in the side deck. So we'll see these values probably go up a little bit because people like to do that when the stuff comes out. So but that is the video here. So hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Thank you guys again for watching, and congratulations to everyone who was able to for one go to the battle hour, but everyone who was able to top, played very well. Also, obviously, congratulations to Philip for being able to win. Awesome weekend for Dragon Ball. Hopefully we get more of this stuff in the future. But again, thank you guys for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.